You up?
Tag, you're it, boo. What's up, everybody? We're not wasting any time. You heard Carissa and I speak the last time, but we've got a very special guest with us today. And really, it's really to have a heart-to-heart conversation because as we told you all about heading back to Kenya in 2025, we wanted to take a natural pause and look back from someone else's eyes, someone who is now an international speaker, who is now officially a humanitarian, so that you hear different perspectives from the heart. And before we kick it off, if you don't know who I am, my name's Leslie Liu. I'm one of the co-founders of Warrior Queens Rise. I am the warrior of the Warrior Queens Rise. I'm also the founder of a company called Reclaiming Your Courage. And what I do is I help women go from weak to warrior strong and really stand in their power. And so I'm going to let my other half introduce herself.
What up, you guys? Carissa here, CEO and founder of the Alpha Queen Collective. My coaching company helps ambitious coaches and consultants scale to 7 figures by mastering both the internal game as well as the outer game, because it does require both, right? In order to have business success, we have to master the internal game as well. So yes, I am the queen maker and the queen side of Warrior Queens Rise. So CEO and co-founder of Warrior Queens Rise, alongside my sister Leslie and our sister Dawn. We are so excited to have Dawn with us today. But hey guys, we want to dive straight in, right? Because we know the importance of hearing stories from other people. And we know that stories empower others and inspire others and motivate others. So if you are watching, before we kind of kick off, if you are watching, please say, hey, what's up? Where are you calling in from? Where are you watching from? If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer them. But anyways, Dawn, I'd love to just kind of kick off this beautiful experience recap with you. And I'm curious. So Leslie mentioned, right, that you recently spoke at the 2024 Stand Together, Rise Together Kenya Keynote Tour. Could you walk us through what it meant to you personally to be a part of this global women's empowerment movement, and what surprised you most about this experience?
Hello, my warrior queens, queen maker, warrior, Dawn Cecile Benjamin. Stepping in. Let me just jump right in. I'll tell you who I am later. This trip to Kenya with, I'm just going to say Carissa and Leslie, was a trip that I can only imagine. When I saw these 2 women go the year before, I was so excited. I was like, wow, look at these women. Look at the impact that they're making in a different country. Look at these women, and I'm gonna be honest. Let's be honest. People look at the 2 of you ladies and say, what they're going over there in Africa for? They're not, people don't say things, but I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it from a different perspective because I know you women. And I was so proud of you ladies. And I said, wow, that's something that I would love to do. And when it came up again, like I said, I'll be honest, finances wasn't great. Missed my flight to Spain, but I wasn't supposed to go because that money went to Africa, to Kenya. Some things are just for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some things are just for you. And this trip meant everything to me because it shifted so much in my mindset. It shifted so much in where I want to take my life, where I want to take my business. It actually opened my son's eyes, to things and what is possible when you believe that you can do things. And so this Warrior Queen Rise trip to Kenya was impactful for me in every area of my life. And it also affected people in my church, because I got them involved and they saw what was happening and how now I'm transformed lives going to another country. I'll talk about that later about, why are you going? Aren't you scared? But anyway, yes, that's the impact it had on me.
Dawn, you said something that I want to highlight because you were given an award for it. So I want you to be able to take a moment and to elevate yourself for not only the impact you personally made, but how you mobilized your entire church community. Can you talk more about what you set out to do and what you achieved and how much you raised and what it went to?
Oh, so when I went to my pastor and I told him I was going to Africa, and he was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "What are you going to do there?" And I told him, and I said, "Listen, I want to come and ask the church people to help out, you know." And he's funny. He says, "Doing whatever you ask them to do, they're going to do." So, you know, so I said, "Okay, I want to raise funds for Ruby Cup." And so I learned from Leslie and Carissa what they were doing with this. And I said, "Oh my God, just imagine you not having the proper hygiene as a woman. Come on, guys. Let's be real. Okay? You don't have the proper hygiene, it's unbearable. It's unbearable." And so that's the story that I told them. I said, just imagine, you know, and I didn't realize that I was taking them on a trip. Now that I'm learning what I did, and they sat there and they looked at me and they was like, "Wow." And so it's funny you asked that. I calculated how many people I have in the church, and I said, "Okay, so each one of them give me $30, and not to hit them in the pockets. Look how much money you could raise." I asked everybody for the same amount. When I finished asking and I went back to my seat, I had to get an envelope for all the money that was coming to me. So the message here is, you have not because you ask not. Sometimes all you have to do is ask. And it was for a good cause. And they believed in it because I believed in you ladies.
Mm. Well, that brings me up, right? Because a lot of people are asking, they asked us the first year, they were like, "How are you picking your speakers?" Right? Because we had so many applications come through. As soon as we put the word out that like we were looking to take, 8 to 9 women on a global tour, empowering, educating thousands of people, mentoring, healing, all of the things. And Leslie and I got together as we're reading these applications, and I was like, we have to find people with a heart, right? Like this is not a speaking tour that, it's just going to make you famous for, and you can't go over there with that selfish heart. Like you have to be a heart-led leader, a heart-led person and human being and an entrepreneur. And your application stuck out, obviously, for so many reasons, Don. Like the sheer motivational power that you bring to every stage that we've seen you step on, the words of encouragement, like lift up people's lives, like every day, right? But the fact that you are heart driven, and it was incredible to be able to be like, "Oh, this is it," like easy peasy on that application. And it was an easy fix for that. And for that, we love you because you have the heart of gold. And we don't pick people because they're like, "Oh, what do they can bring to the table?" It's just like they have a pure heart and they're going to do whatever they want to do to raise the money, raise the funds, like whatever it was. But I remember when Leslie said, "Carissa, Dawn just gave us the final number that she'll be able to donate to purchase Ruby Cups." And I was like, "Shut up." Like, I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing," right? Because guys, this is our very first time that we partnered with this organization. And this is honestly something that's so new for Kenyans, that they were like, "What is this?" Like we had to debunk so many myths around a Ruby Cup, and to kind of have how we were going to handle the objections that we were going to get. Because as you guys know, anytime you're going to try something new, there's always change, there's always question, there's always fear, there's so much things. And Don, you went to your church, you said there's a need, and your church came back, right? They came back, they showered these girls with so much love and abundance and giving. And I know that every single one of those girls was probably like, "Dang," right? Like, that Dawn, she's amazing. She's amazing for sure. So, okay, we did a lot of things, right? We were in Kenya, 9 days, I think. I'm curious as to what was your favorite thing that you experienced while on tour? I mean, it could have been anything from the lions and safari to speaking to thousands. Like, what was your favorite part about you being a part of this tour?
I have to say, First of all, it was the community of the group that you ladies put together. That community helped make the trip rewarding. It almost felt like a family, and it was easy. So that I have to say the community of the sisters, first of all. And then it's actually going to the different places and encouraging the young girls. It really, really was. It was, you can't even imagine. And that's the word I have to use. You can't even imagine, because I had no idea what I was walking into. No idea how this trip was going to go. You know, the women, everything clicked. So I have to commend you ladies first, and I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna answer the question. I have to commend you ladies first for putting this team together, because to put a group of women together, I used to work for the phone company with a group of women. Oh my God. Okay. Sometimes it's very hard, guys. Come on now, with a lot of women and a lot of different personalities. It is difficult. But this was a phenomenal trip with a phenomenal group of women. And so, first of all, I have to say the greatest thing was the community that you put together. And then the other thing I have to say was just going to the schools and seeing these young girls and how they're sponges to soak up the encouragement that we were bringing them. It was everything to me, everything. I and I tell you, sometimes I'd be on the bus when we come from a school, and I sit there, everybody being their thing, and I sit there and I say, oh my God, look at what we are doing, the impact we are making, to let them know, like I said in the beginning, first of all, you have two women of two different cultures coming here to encourage them. Okay? That's big. I'm sorry. A lot of people are like, no, 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 no. Call it what it is. That's big. And I know the young girls themselves, I can see it in their faces. When you two ladies came out and when you started doing your skit, and then we got Warrior in the corner. I'm not gonna tell y'all too much. I'm sorry. So, but it was just the excitement of this trip. I still talk about it. I still look at the pictures sometimes. My son said, "You up there looking at the pictures crying?" Yes, yes, because it is something you will never ever forget in your life. Never, never.
I
Don,
agree. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't want to interrupt you. Sorry, I thought you were speaking, Carissa. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I was gonna have because Don, I don't know if you knew, but I brought Leslie and I brought some pictures of you, and I thought if you could just share a moment of each of these pictures and what it represented for you, or like the moment in time right there. Take people right back into some of these moments that you got to experience as a speaker and a healer.
Wow, wow, wow. So let me take the one when we went to the school, so bear with me. Wow. This one at the school, guys, you can't even imagine. I'm not going to go too deep in the story, but it was just touching the children. We went to a special place. I just called it a special place. And we were able to hug on these young girls and their babies, having them at young ages. And that particular shot right there is just looking at them and saying, wow, here's a child that really didn't ask to be brought here, but they're here. And it's the love that we gave when we was there to experience and to let them know that it's okay. You got help. We're here for you. You know, um, the one where we're standing, we got an award. Totally shocked. Totally. I was like, what? Ooh, ow. Because I thought we was coming to an event for other people and other women that, we were just combining our stories and so and so and so. So that right there was a shock. Something, you do it because it's the love that you have to encourage people. So you're not looking for anything. You know what I'm saying? You're not looking for anything. And when we went to the other one where all the people were, and we was helping put our house together, oh my goodness. That That's one of those pictures that I look at. Like I told you, I'd be up in my room and I'd be like, wow, hammering. The other two ladies was in the mud. And I'll be honest with y'all, Leslie and Carissa were in the mud, taking the mud, putting it. Let me tell y'all something. And I laughed because I said, now, Dawn, if you go in the mud, you know your knees are weak. You know you're going to fall. They're going to have to pull you out. It's going to be a whole scene. Stick to wood, Dawn. But it was just the atmosphere. Everybody had a role and a goal that they were doing that day. It wasn't assigned to you. It's like it was already innate. It was already in you that you knew what you were supposed to do. And then the last picture, oh my goodness. I think that was the first stop, if I'm not mistaken. That was the first stop. So you're not really sure, how it's going to come off. But then you see all of these kids. And I was like, dang, you got to reach those kids all the way back there to make sure they get the message. You can't even imagine. And the thing is, they're all hungry for the encouragement. That's what I loved about them. They were hungry. We can't hear you back here. Okay, walk back there. They were hungry. So I know you're going to ask me something later on, so I won't go too deep in it. But this whole experience and these pictures, like I said, they'll always be with me. Whether I see them or not, they'll always be there. So I don't even have to look at them and know what I went through in Kenya, if you know what I mean.
Yo, my heart's racing. I need a defibrillator because you got my heart racing. You bringing me back to Kenya. I want to acknowledge two things, Dawn. First is, if you're watching this, to see what kind of a powerful speaker and a leader Dawn is. Part of what she does is she's emulating Chris and I. She's giving credit to other women and giving us good feedback. But something that I want to honor and acknowledge is that by Dawn showing up in Kenya, Chris and I, Puerto Rican hair, Asian skin. I get it, right? Pull the hair, whatever. Yeah, multicultural. Chris is Asian. Okay, same. But Dawn going to Kenya she specifically said she's going back home. And that is an important thing to highlight if you identify as someone who's going back home. Just by you going back to Kenya, it's not an automatic thing to identify. So if you're someone who is applying for this tour, this isn't a thing where you're going to get Insta famous and take pictures of your feet. I say it all the time. The last thing I want to leave with is, after we had left the tour, we got all the videos and testimonials from these students, thousands of students, well over 25,000 in the matter of a week, you guys. Every single student made reference to a saying that Dawn says that I'm going to let her share in a second. But Dawn, what is that saying, and how did it land for you that out of all of this footage, these girls were repeating your statement?
Well, ladies, you know me, of course. Never say can, always say can. I grew up on that, and it's funny. When I started actually getting into speaking and wanted to, own my own business, that was always the goal. Always the goal. I wanted to do a never say can, always say can tour. That's always been the goal, And and I told my sister, she was like, you'll never forget that. I said, no. I said, Beth, you know how many things it's got me out of? You know how many things where I wanted to quit and I can hear my mother's voice? My other sisters, they know it, but not like I do. My mother, it's like she pounded that, in me, that I can't get rid of it. And I wanted the young ladies to know that no matter where you are, United States, Africa, it doesn't matter. Poor, rich, never, ever, 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 ever give up. Because once you give up, you're settled. You're mediocrity. You'll stay stagnant. You'll never reach for your goals. So I wanted them to know, as young girls, it don't matter. I know it's not rosy, and I know we went to some areas where it's not pleasant and it's not a place where you think that you can succeed because you're looking through your eyes like we all do here living in this world. And we say, oh, I got $500 in my account. I'm not going to make it. That's because you're not looking with vision. And so my mother used to always tell me, Dawn, don't look through your physical eyes. Look through your eagle eyes. Like an eagle can fly so high and see a fish down in the water. Never say can't. Never, ever, 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 ever say can't, Dawn. You got this. And so I wanted them girls to know this. I came from a place like that. You weren't born with money in the hand. You was born with money in the mind. And we can go get it. So I wanted them to know that. And I still live by that by this day. I taught my son that from the time he was 2 years old, and he gives it right back to me when I want to quit.
I think that that's one of our biggest roles as a mama, is to be the role model that our kids so desperately need. And nowadays, right, we even saw, right, with the teens, the girls in Kenya, they so desperately needed role models, mainly just because their moms were out surviving, like just trying to live another day. So like these women, these girls needed the role models. I can remember them all coming up to you, Dawn, and just loving on you. Remember that day when they all put you all the flowers and they just brought you all these bouquets of like wild flowers, and they appreciated having someone to look up to. They appreciated hearing your story of how you came from nothing and turned that into something. They appreciated the simple message of never say can't, always say can. And it was, Leslie shared every single testimony with me. And I was like, oh my God, they all remember Dawn's message. Because you guys, 9 speakers, we all have a message to share. 23,000, people that we spoke to, and every single one of them said, "I'll remember to never say can't and always say can." It was beautiful. It was beautiful, and her story was perfect. It was spot on. Every single person could relate to Dawn's story, whether you were a mother or a grandmother or a daughter or a child of God. It did not matter. So, last question that I have for you, Dawn, and then I want to, of course, let Leslie start to kind of share about this experience. It's coming up in July, but based on your experience with this tour, right? What would you say to other speakers who are considering joining our upcoming Global Empowerment Tour in July? What would you say to them?
First, I would say y'all wouldn't have a spot because if I would have gone. Okay, so I'm waiting. No, but really, if you are thinking about taking a chance and being the best version of yourself, letting go of any insecurities, letting go of anything that you think may stop you. For example, mine was finances. I'm being honest. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. This trip with Leslie and Carissa, Warrior Queen was such a phenomenal experience. And when I mean that, number one, it was together. Most people's like, oh, like I said, you're going to Africa. Oh my God, you're going by yourself? Oh boy. And so my family was a little leery because they was like, my son was like, sometimes, Mom, you get in the airport, you get like delirious. Where am I? You don't have to worry about any of that. Everything was planned. Everything was planned. From the time you booked your trip, there was a list of who's going, where they're leaving from. Can you meet them? There were 2 other women on a flight with me that I had no idea, but they were on the list. And I saw them, so I knew I was good. I didn't get to fly first class, but I'll never do that again. But anyway, I learned. So, number one, the trip is put together. You don't have to worry about anything from your flight. Who's, like I said, getting there. When you got off the plane, there was someone there to greet you. Ambassador KK, I call him KK, King of Kenya. Yeah, that's his name. He knows that. I call him King of Kenya, KK. But ladies, no, I'm serious. This trip is something that you must do. This is one of the best, and I know there's more to come. I can't wait personally because I know something big is coming. So that's why I'm waiting. Take your time, get your money together, make sure you go. Don't miss out on this. This is one of the best trips I know I have ever taken so far. I can't wait to do it again. Like I said, it was planned. The hotels, the food, the accommodations, everything was top notch. We didn't suffer from nothing. People say, oh, yeah, nothing. Everything was to the T. I'm so proud of you ladies for putting this together. I really, really am. People don't know the work that it took to do this. To have, like I said, to have a group of women like us, and we're all fabulous women. We shared nights together. I have a new roomie. I've met women that I continuously want to be in my life. Come on, y'all. It's not easy just having friends when you get older. It's really it's kind of difficult, you know. And this group is a group of like-minded women. This I can't say enough. I can continue. I'm getting ready to cry because this was such a phenomenal trip. Ladies, I'm telling you, you're missing out if you don't go on this trip. And it's not just because I don't know them. I don't know Leslie and Carissa personally. I met them through the years. So I had to trust them to go on this trip. And I trusted them. From the time I got on that plane until the time I got to Kenya, and they had me traveling around like I was Beyonce. Okay? It was fabulous. So I can't thank you ladies enough. And so if you want to go on this trip, I'm telling you, this is it. This is it, ladies. This is it. Don't let me get the money because I'll be going and you'll be out. Hello.
We receive all of that wholeheartedly. Thank you so much, Dawn. Which leads us to kind of talking about us returning in July. And you're absolutely right. If Dawn has the resources, she's going to take one of the 4 slots. There are 4 slots only for this upcoming tour in July. I want to stress a couple of things. Just by you hitting apply doesn't mean you insta accept it. This is not one of these things. Carissa and I take a lot of time to be intentional. So if that's one of the things that's holding you back, that's not a factor. Putting your name in the hat doesn't guarantee. So because we are very serious about finding healers, heart-led leaders, and people with servants' hearts. So Warrior Queens Rise, July 2025. The focus of this tour is healing and humanity. So if you are someone who has expertise in helping people who, especially young people and women who have suffered from gender-based violence, from mental health struggles, we want you to come. This is exactly the tour for you because it is designed in a way for depth, not width. And what do I mean by that? The experience that Dawn went through was 9 days. And we went to well over 3 schools a day, speaking to well over 23,000. Speaking is a component of this tour, but Carissa and I really came together and said, we need to spend more time with these girls. And specifically the girls at the Rape and Rehabilitation Center. We are going to be workshopping and really focusing on these healing modalities and humanitarian work. So whether we get in our fingers hella dirty to plant some trees, we are going to return to the biggest slum in East Africa, the Kibera slums. We are going to be feeding the underserved, okay? So all of the investment is inclusive of all of your Kenya transfers, transportation, security and safety, making sure you're well taken care of, meals. So the investment goes up after February 1st. Here is the investment beforehand. So if this is something that you're kind of thinking about, I would lock it in. Just saying, because your investment also includes these initiatives. Your money will go towards the humanitarian and the philanthropy work, whether that's education, whether that's a water tank, trees. These kids in the underserved communities literally told us, we would just love to have some trees. Okay, so we have actually built in that as part of your investment so that it's all done for you. These ladies didn't have to think about anything because we organized everything for that manner. So this is everything that it includes. You get an exclusive speaker mastery training. You get to meet with local leaders, ambassadors, and other entrepreneurs. Carissa and her family and I got to meet with the head of the National Heroes Council of Nairobi in Kenya. That is not a small feat, you guys. That is not something that we take lightly. You actually have to serve and do things that benefit Kenyan people. And then we have photos and videos of the tour. You get an international speaker award, so you can officially call yourself an international speaker. And we are, knowing her and we're gonna go bigger. Just saying. So whatever you're hearing Dawn experience, I'm like, yeah, well, we will figure out a way to up the if anything, we want to up the humanitarian work. So I'll kind of leave it at that. And we have the tour information and also the link to the application. So hit apply. Let us know that you exist. Let us know what you would say to 10,000 young people. What is the message you have? You say you have a message for the world. What's the message? Carissa?
Yeah, I'm just calling all of you heart-led leaders forward. You know, there's a point in time where you've got to make a powerful decision. And you can talk a big game, or you can actually walk the game. And I'm challenging all of you who say you're in the empowerment space to actually start walking it more than just, running your own business in the US. I truly believe that every entrepreneur should have some sort of, community give back, humanitarian work as a part of their vision, because, we're all here to make the world a better place. So now let's be about it, right? Let's do it. Let's be about it. Don't just talk about it. If you are interested, please, there are only 4 spots available for our July tour. We will be going again next year with more people, again, more of a wider awareness. But this one really is for the healers, the coaches, the women with a message to share of empowerment. Not to say that we're not still going to speak to over probably 10,000 people. So, if you're looking to speak, if you're looking to kind of gain speaker experience and to have one hell of a trip, please consider joining. And if you know someone who you're like, I'm not ready for that, but so-and-so is always talking about something like this, I highly please recommend sharing this, drop their name, do a DM intro between Leslie or myself. We'd be happy to kind of walk them through, send them through the slide deck. And with that, you guys, this world, it needs your voice. Your voice, your story matters. And I think that's it. Anything else, Dawn? Any last words? Or are we good to go?
Good. Hit me up. I'm gonna hit my church. Plant a tree.
Love it. We love the fact that you gave and that your church gave. She even got a special recognition, you guys, for the above and beyond, right? So we see you, Dawn. We value you. We love you. We respect you. And tell everyone at your beautiful church, thank you on behalf of Leslie and all of the 20,000 Kenyans that you supported. So, all right, you guys, if you know someone who is looking to heal, empower, speak, motivate, inspire, please share this beautiful message with them, or just visit us at www.warriorqueensrise.com. And until then, we'll see you soon. Bye for now.